Coming up, some of Australia's best athletes overseas making their mark on the world stage. The new initiative that will shake up the Series A in Salzburg and probably go against all the ethos around the Karate One League, and a breakdown of the Super Seminar sessions. We also have a new segment to introduce at the end of the episode, so stay tuned. All that follows after our talented friend, Good Fortune. Welcome back to the Kaizen Culture Pod, where we are keeping the conversation moving within Australian karate. My name is Mitchell Durham, here with Nathan Blockley and John Stainer. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, whether it be on Apple or Spotify. Did I say that right?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I never listened to you at this point in the podcast.
All right. We are also, I hope that's not true for everyone else. We're also watchable on YouTube, but please give the podcast a rating if you're enjoying the content. And as always, please let us know your thoughts and opinions. Anything you'd like us to talk about at kaizenculture.info at gmail.com, and sign up to our mailing list at kaizenculture.org. Got to get that done quicker.
I love the word ethos, so I thought that balanced it out, you know.
The ethos, it was a bit fancy.
Yeah.
It came out and I was like, ooh.
Oh, you like it? That's two in a row now you've liked.
Yeah.
I think you liked the intricacies, last one, and then the ethos of this one. We've got some Australians overseas at the moment currently. I think by the time this episode comes out, we would have just missed Max and Iris competing in England, but they're on a big tour right now.
And it's been a while since Aussies have been overseas and been doing this sort of stuff. I mean, we had Lucy last one, but there's only been one or two here and there. Sorry, Lucy and...
Rebecca.
Rebecca,
yes.
League. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, they're on a huge tour and they're doing like 2 weeks of training in Italy with this coach, Massimiliano Ferraini. Damn, I got that.
I think he's Italian.
Definitely Italian.
What gave that away?
Because they're in Italy, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
I think Max trained with him in the same club last year with Ben. Yeah. So obviously good enough to go back and see them again to get ready for the next few weeks and obviously the World Championships. Yeah,
they got some great reviews from the last time they went. A couple of really good club athletes are part of that club as well, because it's not all about the coach, it's also about who you get to train with, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So they've got the 2 weeks of training. They've just done a comp in Italy, the Turin Open, I think it's called, where Max came away with the bronze.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So cool.
That's awesome. And they had some good, decent numbers in his division. I'm not sure if Iris competed. I didn't see her name in there, but Max with the bronze. It's so sick. Always good getting a medal at an international comp.
Yeah.
They're backing it up with the competition in England that I just mentioned, and then the Series A in Salzburg before Budapest Open. So that's 4 competitions.
Oh, they're doing Budapest as well?
Yeah.
What?
And they're doing it correctly by doing some local comps around a Series A and not just going for a Series A tournament, you know. And with the new format of the Series A, it might be a bit tougher than the other ones.
Can you still call it a Series A?
Well,
Can you? Yeah.
This is the thing. It's like, should I get to the new rule? Should I read it out?
Do we have anything to talk to?
No, not really. I think it's just awesome.
Fair enough.
It's just awesome to see like these two going on a big tour like that. You know, it's happening more regularly now, and doing the little comps, doing the big comps, combination of the two with training. It's the best formula for an Australian if you have time and if you have the funds to afford it. You know?
It does seem like it's happening more and more and more. I don't know if it's because we're talking about it, and so
Must be.
I'm just aware. No, I mean more like I'm aware of it happening. Maybe, but it's really great to hear so many Aussies over the last 12 months have been taking advantage of like little trips, doubling down on a couple of tournaments, training with people while you're there.
Yeah, and Iris a month out from Junior Worlds. You know, that's going to be super valuable, this international experience.
And then for Iris especially, the Junior Worlds and then the Team Worlds.
Yeah, true.
So she's got a huge back half of the year, you know, especially after coming off an injury as well. So really hope that she can.
Yeah, didn't compete at Nationals, hey?
Yep, yeah. So she had something going on with her knee, but it didn't seem as bad when she was telling me, but just precautionary. And because obviously you have a big run for the end of the year.
Yeah.
But I just know she'll come in firing for the next few comps. But yeah, they're going to meet up with 2 other Aussies in Salzburg. So Celia, minus 50 Kumite athlete, and our very own traveller, still Australian, Shaun Yuen. He's still Australian, even though he's living in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
He'll be over there, and why not, right?
Yeah.
So good.
I hope he's training quite a bit over there. I'm sure that's what he'd want to do. You know, being in the Netherlands, they've got some quality Carter athletes and coaches. Small, very quality world referee. So
insane guy as well.
I think insanely good or just insane?
Bit of both. I think he's crazy. I actually think he's... You remember?
Yeah, I do.
Like, he's nuts.
Yeah, this guy's like... How old is he? Like, a good 75?
I reckon like 100.
Yeah. He only just retired when we went in 2017. He only just retired from, like, being a world ref. And he was still, like, kicking above head height and, like, full-on
like
traditional...
Splits.
It was a... splits. Yeah. Oh, far out.
Nice.
I remember about that.
Yeah, no, he was tough. But Sean's going to be over there. I hope they can all hang out a little bit. But the Series A, it's not really a Series A this time, is it? It's there's a new rule that's been introduced by the WKF. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've heard about it. It's the top 32 ranked athletes are now allowed to participate in this last Series A of every year, in just before the rankings kick in for whether it's the team worlds or the individual worlds next year. So I don't know why they're doing this. It's kind of goes against the whole separation of Premier Leagues and Series A's, because now you can have a top 32 athlete in a Series A first round. What's the point?
This wasn't... When we broke down the Series A Premier League and we had that document from the WKF website, it wasn't in there, was it?
I didn't read it anyway. This is when registration...
That was a great episode we did.
I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, and now it's just like... It's old.
Yeah,
it's
we can't even use that now. But I just don't understand the reason why. That's all it says in the bulletin for sport data. Just the rule. Doesn't say why they're doing it. Haven't heard anything why.
Yeah, the best I could guess is maybe like allowing. Well, I suppose you already allow the Series A competitors to do Premier League, so there is that mix already. So no, my point's invalid because they've got that. So why would they want to mix the two for Series A's? Because they're not thinking of us as Australians having to travel all the way over and then potentially coming up against third in the world who doesn't make it to the finals, and then you've spent all this money and you're not competing at the level that you're actually at. You're competing at a level above where you are.
And Series
they're
A
not thinking about us. Sorry,
Series A is still a knockout draw.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's really tough. Maybe because there's no Premier Leagues for a long gap, and it gives the top guys a chance to hit out before the Worlds.
Just make another event.
Well, yeah. It seems like a Band-Aid.
I agree. There is a long time between drinks between the Premier League and, let's say, if you're not doing the team worlds, what are you doing for the rest of the year? But that was the same formula for every year before that when it was no team worlds. So although there was Premier Leagues in the back end of the year, there was Russia and Madrid and stuff like that. So maybe they're not putting a Premier League in there because of the Team World Championships, but maybe it's like, hey, if you want to do an event, attach yourself to the Series A. There's one interesting rule is that the top 32 athletes don't accrue points for this event.
Yes. Yeah.
So it doesn't change the point system. They're very specific and detailed and reliable point system that John loves.
My favourite.
Yeah.
Which one, sorry?
The third one. The third one, not the first or second or sixth one.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, I was enjoying the fact that Series A and Premier League was split. And now the fact that they've done this for the last one, which is a great time for Australians to do it. And not just Australians, but anyone. It's the start of the European season, so they've just come off of summer.
Yeah.
So it's a good first comp for them. And now they're going to come up against top 10 maybe.
Yeah. You said you thought about going to Salzburg.
Yeah, I sort of considered it.
Why'd you decide not to?
I kind of just wanted to come home and just focus on a bit of training and leading into Worlds for the back end of the year.
What value would you get out of doing a Series A?
Well, I think it'd be getting some good rounds in for me. Not fighting the top 10, sometimes, and just, another big competition when you can get a lot of rounds in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I sort of just valued. I'm really quite happy with the way I'm fighting at the moment. It would be nice to do another event. Financially, probably comes into play. Work, things like that. So just weighing up the options of all right, well, maybe we'll just focus on training the team training camp that we've got going on, before Worlds. So just training sort of stuff focus at the moment.
It'll be interesting to see how many top 32 do end up going, because maybe they all have it'd be good for a couple of rounds, but I mean, I live in Europe and I have a tournament every weekend anyway, so rounds is not really what I'm after.
Yeah.
Is there any point? I don't get points for it.
Yeah.
Could be a higher level comp for them though than what any other alternative.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a higher level than any local.
If you're in Europe,
yeah,
I guess if you're from Japan or further away, you might be like, nah.
Yeah, well, I think that's the reason why if it was a Series A in like Japan,
yeah,
probably would do it, you know?
Sure.
But yeah, it would have been valuable for me because I don't know where I'm ranked at the moment, but I think I'm slowly slipping down, but I think I'm still stuck in the top 32.
Yeah.
So would have been kind of cool to do the last one, but then it's like, I don't know.
We don't agree with it, yeah?
I don't agree with it. If you're going to split it,
we're taking,
split it.
I think my problem with it is how amateurish it seems. It's like it's on sport data. It's not an official rule. It doesn't seem like it was like purposely done ahead of the calendar and being like, yes, this year we'll do this and we'll do this going forward. It's like on sport data. What is sport data to have like in a calendar rule? And
they might have made like an Instagram post or something.
It's really amateurish in that sense.
Yeah.
Classic.
Classic, right? Yeah. Classic. Why aren't we in the Olympics? Because of stuff like this.
It's actually so true. We got so much feedback from the Olympics, by the way. The Olympics chats. I think everyone loves the controversies and just talking about that sort of stuff. I think it was pretty cool, and that's part of the little segment at the end. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the Series A. Don't really want to talk about it too much because it gets a bit fired up, I reckon.
Yeah.
Just want to do a quick little mention of the Junior Worlds team. We're going to do some episodes about that later on, and it is coming. We're going to do a full breakdown of who's going, what should be in store for all of the categories and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, we are going to mention the Junior Worlds team because it's pretty exciting, and seeing all the young ones train, and they're all posting on Instagram, which is so cool.
So cool.
Yeah, days too. The countdown.
Yeah,
I love them.
But yeah, we're going to take a little short break now, and then we'll come back and we'll mention some things about the Super Seminar.
Nice.
Cool.
Let's do it.
We are back from the break, and we've got a lot to talk about for our very first event that we are running, the WKF Teams Squad Super Seminar. I know we've been harping on about it a lot, but we're super excited about it. It's going to be wicked.
Yeah, it's a camp that I wish I had when I was younger. I said that last podcast, and it's still true. You know, I would have travelled interstate and had a hotel or an Airbnb or something for a weekend.
I think you would have slept in the car.
Yeah, I think
I would have slept in the. Yeah, I would have done. I would have slept.
We're not
on
advocating
the porch.
anyone to do that, but Nathan would have.
Richie would definitely have done that. He would have slept on a park bench, I reckon.
I would have slept upside down on a clothesline, mate. In that camp.
You've done that before, though.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen on socials, we have finalised the session plan. It's out there. We've labelled all the sessions. And yeah, we just want to go through it a little bit more in detail for those that listen and just explain the sessions a bit more if it wasn't so clear. But yeah, the Saturday and the Sunday, it's two separate crowds. We've said that before. The Saturday is 100 people maximum tickets that we can sell, and it's all ages, all levels. So that really means all ages and all levels.
Yeah,
you know?
we've got plenty of coaches that'll be there on the day, so we can split groups up according to age and skill during the day. You're going to get a very catered training from your group, and you'll be able to train with other people who are your level as well. Like there's going to be all levels that are there, so don't think that I'm not going to come because there's probably not going to be a lot of people around my level. It's exactly for those people.
Exactly. I think if you own a pair of gloves and you've done one fight in your dojo, like you could come to this.
100%. And that's the structure. So the structure is there's 5 sessions, but every session there'll be a lead instructor, and they'll be taking the drills and running the show for that hour. And then it'll split off into the age groups. So age and level, if we've got 25, 11, 12-year-olds, then we'll probably split that up into 2 groups as well. So it's a bit more catered, but yeah, splitting off into the age groups, and there'll be a coach sort of in that group tailoring the drills to make sure it's like tailoring up or tailoring down, depending on what the drill is and what your level is. And then the other instructors are going to be floating around, helping you out, giving you advice, training with you, everything about it. So it's going to be wicked.
Yeah, I want to say a little analogy here.
Okay.
If you were like a kid starting footy,
all right.
this is a seminar where you've got the entirety of the Carlton Football Club, because I'm a Carlton supporter.
Fair enough.
The entirety of the Carlton Football Club coming and coaching you to do footy. Like,
wow.
That is just, it's invaluable experience. It really is.
Even if it's Carlton?
Especially because it's Carlton. Well, it's definitely not West Coast, man.
Yeah, it's not West Coast. All right, so we'll get into the session breakdown now. Enough about the West Coast and Carlton saga. The first one is just a workshop with the coaches, because I feel like that's pretty valuable, especially if this is the all ages, all levels camp seminar day. It's identifying your strengths and how to define yourself as an athlete. I think it's really important that when you're starting off in your karate career, just to keep those things in mind and, you know, follow down the pathway of who you are as an athlete, whether you love it for enjoyment or you're really competitive, you want to be world champion. What are your different strengths and stuff like that? You don't have to write it all down, but I think it's a good idea just to start focusing on that. And even if you're doing this as an experienced athlete, it's always good to just check in and see where you're at. So bring your notepad and pen for that one.
Well, I definitely did that in my fighting career far down the track. I wish I did it a lot earlier. It would have benefited me a lot, you know.
Yeah. And then we go to the second session with footwork and distance control. Probably the biggest thing, right?
Huge.
I think if you can get footwork and distance at an early level, like good luck to everyone else in your event.
Yeah.
Like for state level.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people winning state level don't have like great, like amazing footwork and distance control, and then you're just almost untouchable.
Yep.
Attack is really important. Defense is arguably more important than attack, but distance and footwork, if you can choose when you want to engage, that is just good luck to anyone else.
It's the foundation, right?
Yeah, it is the foundation. If your opponent can't touch you and you can choose when to go, like...
Yeah, and it allows you to blur the lines between defense and attack. Like, I think if you don't have that, you're defending or you're attacking. If you do have that, you can do both.
Yeah, and who moves better than the Australian team?
That's it. I actually do think that the Australian team moves bloody awesome.
Yeah,
like,
amazing.
I'm watching these athletes and not compared to, it's compared to the world stage. I'm like, we actually move really well, like compared to some of the other countries.
It's a definite strength of ours.
100%. And then it leads into really nicely for the defensive options and strategies. So obviously there's defending and stuff like that, but when to do what, basically, when to disengage, when to engage and attack, because that's a form of defense. So just about more so picking when to do what in the defensive mindset. Then it goes to session 4, which is the tailored technical development of your preferred skills. We mentioned that last episode of picking the things that you like to do or that you're good at, and how can we make them a little bit better. And you know, maybe you can move a bit more efficiently, or when to use that specific technique or that specific attack, or when you like to move to the corner. Just being a bit more specific about what you like to do and how we can use that different ways.
I really like this one.
Oh my God.
I will go. I will take the floor. No, I really like this one. I think for all levels, but particularly if you're a little bit like earlier on in your comp experience, like having a couple of techniques you can lean on and then get a better understanding of how to do that in different settings, against different opponents, can make a huge difference. It's good to like build the whole level of your fighting, but it's also okay to accelerate 1 or 2 areas. Can make a big difference in winning matches.
I could have said it better, but he said it already.
Have a go if you want.
No, that's exactly what I wanted to say. So.
Cool. And then the last session, which will just be sort of capping it all off and sort of putting it all into one, is combination work and continuous kumite. It sounds a bit fancy and fluffy, but it's just about eliminating the weak spots within your full match and keeping continuous flow of your focus, matching attack and defense, all the movement stuff, and not just realizing that, okay, when I attack, that's it, and then I can reset and do another attack. It's like it's the full 2 minutes, full 3 minutes, or full minute and a half for some of the young kids as well.
Yep.
Just how to keep things continuous, basically.
Yeah, too many athletes in Australia do have those blind spots during their fighting. They shut down and they're not ready for their opponent to attack. Either that's because they think there's enough distance between them, or they feel like there's just been an engagement, so why would there be another one so fast?
There's that classic reset after the engagement, right? It's like you've attacked, I've attacked, let's go back. And bounce a bit.
So that's day 1, all levels, all ages.
5 sessions.
Yeah, 5 sessions. And in amongst that, you've got the little bits of breaks that you can chit-chat with the squad. There's a team Q&A where we're going to chat about our mindset and mental and physical and emotional struggles, all that sort of stuff. And then the lunch as well that you get, and have lunch with the team, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a day.
Yeah. And then you can back it up with the Sunday if you like. If, obviously that first day is for all levels, all ages. If you're a young kid that's thinking maybe, I don't know if I can do this, that day is for you. But also that day is for the experienced athletes, because it's going to be split off into groups. So if you're an experienced athlete that's, come to nationals a couple of times in the Australian team, you can still do that day. We'll tailor it towards what you need, but then also really focus on the Sunday as well. Do both.
Yeah. And so Sundays for like state level athletes?
State level.
And above?
Cadets and above.
Yeah.
Just, we really want to hone in on the elite development, the development of the elite athletes and their skills for that one. We can really go deeper into like mental strategies and even emotional connection to Kumite.
Yeah, do things that the levels below they don't need at that stage of their career. If anything, it'd probably be counterproductive because it's too much to think about. But this level of athletes, they need to be thinking about this going forward.
So that first session is individualized attacks and generating setup on various defenses. So this is kind of similar to the tailored development of preferred skills from day one, but when you have your favorite attacks, like I've got a Kizami or a Gak or whatever it is, I like to do this. How are you going to do that on different types of defenses? How are you going to do that in different moments? How can you utilize your strengths to all scenarios rather than just one particular moment? So that's the sort of general idea behind that session. And just being fully comfortable with your favorite attack on all defenses.
Yeah, that's going to be super valuable for people who already have their favorite techniques on lock, like they know exactly what they like to do. They might not just be able to use it in all these case scenarios,
Yeah, especially if people start like reading that, coaches see, and they're like, okay, so-and-so does a Kazami, right? So we want you to kind of be like moving around more circular, not let them line you up. You still got to try and score off that, otherwise they've just nullified your main strength.
For sure. Then we go straight into the session 2, which is the match simulation with the personalized coaching and strategic advice. So thought we'd probably kick off the matches early rather than at the end of the day when you're all cooked. So getting in, doing some match practice simulation, and all of the coaches that are there are going to be in your corner, just giving you feedback and analysing when you did the right thing, when you probably could have done something else in that moment, all strategy based. So
yeah, and I'm sure some of the coaches might not mind jumping in for a match as well.
Absolutely. I would love to beat up on some kids.
Well, you did that with, was it Leo at last camp, Leo Rizkala, that you had a bit of fighting with after the training camp, and you really enjoyed it, and I know he really enjoyed it as well. No, or maybe that was during the comp that he really loved it.
Yeah, no, he did say he loved it, but I like fighting the young kids. It's fun. I remember what it was like when I looked up and fought the national team members. You're pretty scared, but like it's the best. It's fun, you know. And
you don't care at all getting scored on or losing. Like you could not.
If they score a point on you, they're going to remember.
Ask Justin Robbins. Exactly. Ask Justin Robbins about the time he fought Daniel Thielen in training. Just ask him.
All right.
Actually, no, sorry. Ask Daniel Thielen about when Justin Robbins fought him in training.
I'll ask both, and I'll see how their stories
They'll be very different stories. Anyway, then we do a feedback session. So rather than a team Q&A, I feel like the cadets and above and the state team members, they're all pretty privy to this sort of stuff with like mental training and stuff. Yeah, and they can ask questions, but the feedback session is really important, where we can go straight off the back of a match simulation. And we just actually give you sit-down advice rather than sometimes when you're training and you need to get, you're in the middle of a drill, sometimes the feedback doesn't sit in, where you can just sit down and go, maybe I can just write this down. A designated time where you can just go, all right, I'm going to really take this in.
Yeah. I think between those two, there's some great possibility for some take-homes there and like to make a big impact in your training after that.
Yeah. Session 3 is the same as the day 1, defensive options and strategies, but just probably a little bit more at an experience level. So same concept, just a bit more variation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This one I'm so excited for, session 4. Grappling in clinch work with Rory Attridge.
Yeah, I've just got to say, nobody in Australia knows how to grapple, except for Rory. And maybe you make the list, Mitch. I don't know. Not a chance. No.
I'm not even in the top 10.
It's just something that we're not used to doing. And it's changed so much over the last, 10 years that a lot of the coaches, they're still adapting to the new style of fighting and how to deal in these grappling situations. But just because there's a time limit on grappling doesn't make it any less important. If anything, it makes it more important, because if you're fighting somebody who doesn't know how to grapple, you can really capitalize on that. Alternatively, if you don't know how to grapple and the other person does, you feel hopeless in that clinch.
You're a bit like fish out of water.
Yeah.
And Rory is probably the most experienced as well, because not only is he just a strong bulldog, but he is. I don't want to misspeak here, but I know he's very experienced in jiu-jitsu and BJJ. So
that's an MMA as well.
MMA. So like he understands how the body moves in those. Obviously, it's two-handed, it's different, it's on the ground, but it's the same sort of thing about manipulating the body and stuff like that. So I'm not going to be a coach in that session. I'm going to be a student.
You might jump in, yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely. So that's going to be wicked. And then the last one, which once again is a sort of a combination or a good summary of all of it in one. It's controlling tempo and situations within matches. I feel like this is where we can really take our karate to the next level within Australia. If not only we can avoid flat spots and stuff like that, but if we can dictate when the other person has a flat spot and when we can score on those, that is just going to be so valuable for us. So controlling the tempo of when you're pushing, when you're pulling, when you're being intense, when you're not being intense, and then scoring within those moments, and then different situations, doing that within different situations. Does that sort of make sense, I guess?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think any sport that's like competitive like that, there's nothing worse than playing it according to someone else's tempo.
Yeah.
That's just terrible.
Yeah, how many times have you been told by a coach, fight your fight?
Yeah, but sometimes the person doesn't let you, right?
No.
Like if they're that good at controlling the tempo. And then it's really hard to do favorite techniques and all of that stuff. That's a great last session, I think, to wrap everything up.
Wicked. Yeah, I think it's if I do say so myself, I think it's a good little session structure. But
we have the expertise to teach it.
Yeah. The minds of the team squad putting together these sessions and the drills and stuff like that. I'm so excited to see what everyone comes up with and how it's going to roll out. It's going to be wicked.
I think it'd be really cool though, is in a few years' time, if some of these like cadets and kids you're teaching now come and you're like, fuck, I taught you that, and you're doing it against me now.
Yeah, that's actually
that would be pretty cool. Are we
shooting ourselves in the foot here?
Shortening your career maybe.
Damn. Oh well, it's meant to be. That's how it goes in sports. You're supposed to push out the older ones, and I'll gladly step away when the young ones push me out.
Hang on in there.
But I'm hanging on. Yeah, I'm hanging on for as long as I can.
It's a come at me situation.
It is, yeah, for sure.
But you want more competition. Everyone wants more competition in Australia, and that's what part of this camp is about.
Okay, so this is the new segment, listener comments and questions. I feel like this is a long overdue thing as well.
Hello, listeners.
Hello, listeners. We've had a few comments on Instagram and emails, and there's a survey that we have as well. So I think it's important to recognize that you guys are contributing to our content as well. So if you want to have your say on things that we're talking about, drop a comment on our Instagram posts or drop us a DM. Send us an email, kaizenculture.info@gmail.com, and we'll get to your comments and questions. So the first one that we had here on the Olympics chat, after we've been talking all about the rule changes and the possibilities of getting into Brisbane, Andrew Lim writes in, what are your thoughts then on karate's chances to be included for Brisbane 2032? Mish Wilson follows that up. My view is 2032 will be a massive ask. Competing with other sports who have millions of dollars to support their bid will be tough. And it's sort of the same sort of thing we were saying in the last episode. It's just, I don't think it's going to happen. Not at all.
There are a lot of sports that sort of go before karate that have a chance to debut in the 32 or be the second time running. So it's going to be really tough for karate to make a case to feature in the 32 Olympics. And then also it depends how we are as a nation at that point, how competitive we are on the world stage. That's going to play into it, because that's what Karate Australia would use as an argument for it to be put in the Olympics if we do have chances at medals. But yeah, it'd be very tough for the Olympics to be in.
I think it's just no chance.
You reckon it's
No,
just
flat out.
I think any Olympics.
Any Olympics.
I think it's just done.
wow. Just
Yeah.
because of our performance from 2020 or just because of how supported we are as a sport?
I think a bit of both, yeah, and all factors. I think unless like in like several years' time, it's a non-WKF different type of version. I just think it's not happening.
Wow, that's huge. Well, thanks, Andrew
Hot take.
Lim, for that. And unfortunately, to crush everyone's dreams. But I don't want to crush everyone's dreams. It's just being realistic, right? Like, I know it would be awesome for our sport to get in. I just think we've got, like we said last episode, a long way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have alternatives to the Olympics. It's not like it is the be all and end all of karate. We have the World Championships and now we have the team championships. There are plenty of insanely high level events that we do. So, I mean, just because we're not in the Olympics, it's not a big deal. You've got plenty to aim for within the world of karate.
100%.
But it would be nice.
Yeah, it would have actually be so good. Cool. And then one more we had here, which was on another comment about the rule changes going a bit too quick. Jessica Bradich Johnson, one problem with the change in rules is giving so many warnings without penalties encourages time wasting and it's not enjoyable to watch. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you can look at it from two different angles. Like I sort of like the tactfulness, tactics involved.
Yeah.
The tactics involved in using your warnings to your advantage. I don't mind the whole being able to step out just before the 15 seconds goes off and using that to reset and then, it's tense for the last 15 seconds. That's a very recent rule change. I don't mind it at all. Yeah. But I get how, from a spectator point of view, it can be, they just...
wasting time.
Yeah, wasted time, stepped out of the mat. It's not...
Sure, it can look gimmicky.
Yeah, it doesn't align with the values of the sport.
Oh,
sure.
okay.
It's like...
Ethos?
Ethos. Damn it. Damn it. You had to say
What
it.
an opportunity.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the other rules trying to encourage more engagement. And then you can step out.
But if you think about it, there's actually less warnings. Before, when you had the two categories, category 1, you had 3 before disqualification. Category 2, you had 3 before disqualification. So it was 6 total warnings, whether that was contact or step out. Now you only got 4 total warnings.
Yeah.
And then you got the disqualification.
I think it depends what you get. Like, you kind of have more if you stick to one.
Yeah.
But you have less if you're getting both.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's less warnings.
Yeah.
I like that it's lumped in now, all the warnings together. I really like that. And I like that overall there's less. I think if you've stepped out a couple of times or it's in the last 15 seconds, you've then got to worry about contact and, it's both sets of old warnings.
Yeah. Because you would see sometimes, like, if you stepped out, like let's say a couple of years ago, you stepped out, you're in your last category 2 warning, they go, oh my gosh, I'm just going to hit someone.
Yeah.
And then you get a contact warning. But really now, if you do that, you get disqualified. So you've got to be super clean if you're on the last warning to, not get disqualified.
Yeah. Back in the day, it used to be even more brutal, and you got points against for points.
Could you imagine that? Should we bring it back? If we want to,
is that what Jess was referring to? Maybe as well.
Maybe the
like
running
having
around.
some more penalties with the points going against you.
That would be rough because you know how hard it is to score points now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you're just giving away points,
I do like that we moved away from that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people there was the score would be like 3-2. And nobody actually scored an attack. It was just points against.
And how crazy was it is that you would do the first warning.
I got hit in the head
then
3
the second
times.
warning, it was 1 point. The third warning, it was 2 points.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just nuts.
That's how I got most of my points back in the day. Get hit in the head.
Hit me. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for writing in and commenting. We're always so keen to hear everyone's takes. So thanks, Andrew Lim, Mish Wilson, and Jess Bradich. And as always, I didn't change the wrap up section because it's like, all right, please let us know your feedback and ask questions. Yeah. Anyway, after all, we are an organisation for you, so this is the whole purpose behind the listener comments and questions. Send us an email at kaizenculture.info@gmail.com. Drop a comment in the posts or in the DMs, all that sort of stuff. And thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, lads, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you,
See you
boys.
in 2 weeks.